Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and today we have a rather special episode with the year in review. And how we are going to go about our year in review is rather simple. You see, Google Trends has been a friend of mine ever since I started doing this podcast and understood the meaning of understanding trends and the meaning of understanding why we need to understand trends in terms of content creation. But now that we're here, let's talk about on a global scale. What was the number one search throughout the year? And well, no one has to think a lot because, of course, it was about COVID 19. Everywhere throughout the globe, the topmost thing in terms of news and the overall topmost search was about COVID 19. So that was a clear, abundant winner. But if we go down the chart to the top five, we have the election results, the 2020 election, the much contested election. We've got the unfortunate passing of Kobe Bryant. We've got Zoom, which is amongst the most newest video conferencing apps that has come out and completely blown up this year. And we've got the IPL at the number 5th topmost searched worldwide. Now if we drop down into sections, that is like alternative sections that are broken down further to try and understand what the world exactly wanted to know this year in terms of top fives. We're going to talk about the top five actors that were searched throughout the year. Number one would be Tom Hanks because he was the first person to be diagnosed with COVID who was super famous. Second, Joaquin Phoenix, of course, for Joker. Third, Amitabh Bachchan for some reason. I don't know, he didn't have any new projects this year unless I'm mistaken, but he was the third most top searched actor worldwide this year. We've got Ricky Gervais, of course, because of his stand-up special, and Jada Pinkett Smith because of that controversy that came out. When we jump over to athletes, the world's most famous athlete search for this year was Ryan Newman, followed by, of course, Michael Jordan. He is always on this list. Always in places that you would never expect him to be. We've got Tyson Fury. Man, Tyson Fury is killing it lately. And if I was a betting man, I would put everything. I'd bet the house on Tyson Fury to run wild with everything. He beats Deontay Wilder again, and then he goes on to face AJ, and then he beats the daylights out of AJ as well. It's going to be a good fight. It's going to be one that boxing deserves, but it's going to be something that is going to be not even close, in my opinion. Of course, we've got Tom Brady, the NFL legend, in the top four. And the fifth goes to Mike Tyson because of his fight this year, his comeback fight against Roy Jones Jr. So, top five athletes. Not a lot of us would know a lot of these names that aren't sports heads. But for those of you like me that are out there that follow sports to a T, you know at least 4 out of the 5 names that we just spoke about. When we move over to concerts that were Googled the most, it was all Together at Home concert, it was the Fight Fire in Australia concert, it was the Garth Brooks live in concert, it was the Travis Scott Fortnite concert. Now that one was a good one, and it was the BTS online concert. So the top 5 concerts that only existed, all of them were without a doubt virtual, and the only ones that would put on a concert were the ones that were leaning towards adapting towards the situations that were dealt. Everyone had to improvise, adapt and overcome this year, and some people did it better than others. When we go over to the realm of gaming this year, Among Us was the topmost searched game throughout the globe, followed swiftly by Fall Guys. Then came Valorant, which is a very good game in my opinion. Then came Genshin Impact. I haven't played that one. Then came The Last of Us 2, of course, which won a lot of Game of the Year awards this year. We move over to lyrics, and of course, WAP was the number one search, followed by Savage Love, and then Gooba by Takashi 69. Shocking. Then came Skechers, Light Up Skechers. Then came Dynamite. And those were the top 5 lyrics that were searched throughout the year. When we look at movies, now, this is very controversial because none of these movies were ones that you would be expecting to be on the top most searches throughout the globe. But the number one movie that was searched throughout the globe this year was Parasite, followed by 1917, and then by Black Panther, and then by 365 DNI. And the fifth most searched movie this year was Contagion. Well, it is what it is. Now, this one is one of those searches that make you wonder what the world is thinking. So, the top 5 most searched about people this year. Number 1 was Joe Biden. He won the election, but people did not know who he was. So people were googling him left, right, and center on a global scale to figure out who was Joe Biden and how has he won this election. Who is he? What are his qualifications? All of that jargon. The second most googled person this year was, of course, Kim Jong-un, because people are sitting at home and wondering what North Korea was up to. Then comes Boris Johnson, because of course Boris Johnson is Boris Johnson. And if you don't know anything about Boris Johnson, I strongly suggest you go onto YouTube and search for Boris Johnson and watch whatever video pops up. You will not be disappointed. At number 4, we've got Kamala Harris, because of course ever since the election came through, people wanted to know who the Vice President of the United States was. Even when she was running, she was a very strong candidate and people wanted to figure out who exactly was Kamala Harris and what exactly is her heritage, I'm thinking. And then, of course, Tom Hanks being the first celebrity to be diagnosed with the coronavirus. Now we talk about recipes. Recipes that made it huge this year. Number 1, the Dalgona coffee. Now this thing absolutely blew up on those social media minute video websites, and boy oh boy was this trend overrated. But hey, what can we say? Number 2, we've got Ekmek. I have no idea what that is. Number 3 is sourdough bread. Number 4, of course, pizza. And at number 5, we had Lamankan. I have no idea what most of these dishes are. At least 2 of these dishes are. The rest of the 3 I can vouch for. Moving swiftly on towards TV shows that were searched about most this year, we've got Tiger King. Of course, now Tiger King became an infamous series this year, Carole Baskin. And those of you who haven't watched Tiger King, I would strongly recommend it. Go onto Netflix. It's a series. I believe it's got like 7-8 episodes in totality, but you have to watch it. And if you watch one, you will be instantly hooked to watch the entire show. I am very sure about that. So on a personal note, go and watch Tiger King on Netflix. Apart from that, the number 2 show that made it big this year with people searching worldwide was Big Brother Brazil for some reason. Then comes Money Heist, which a lot of us were probably expecting to be on here. Then came Cobra Kai, which a lot of us were not expecting to be on here. And then comes Umbrella Academy. So yeah, you might not necessarily agree, but this is not some trend thing unless it didn't make sense. It is actually Google Trends. That means people have actually searched for these things the most on a global scale. And this is just a reflection of the data. So it isn't an ongoing thing, it's a thing of the past. And searches change throughout the years, but then again, if some things make their rounds rather quickly, they have a lasting impact. Thereby Tiger King being the number 1 show, even though it came out a long time ago, pretty early in the year. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was the world's search trends in the year 2020. It's been a very weird year. It's been a very disturbing year for a lot of us. It's been a very humbling year for a lot more of us. It showed us the realities of life and also showed us that you should take nothing for granted ever. So for those of you listening, I appreciate you guys tuning into my podcast, and we have just begun our journey and just stepped in to this so-called rabbit hole that we call consciousness. So we're gonna embark on very weird journeys, sub-branches of this rabbit hole, and we'll go deeper and deeper till we figure out a lot of the answers to the questions that we've never asked ourselves. So with that being said, I'll see you guys real soon. Take care. Peace.